The Celestian Empire starship Aurelius Crown moved through deep space like a shining blade. Its metal skin caught the soft blue light of distant suns, and its engines hummed with the quiet pride of a vessel built to rule. This ship carried royalty, soldiers, scientists, and slaves. But today, it carried something far more dangerous. It carried the Drakthyreks. The creature was known across the galaxy as a living nightmare. It had wings of black metal scales, a long tail sharp enough to cut steel, and eyes that glowed a bright gold when angry. The beast was tall as a gunship, strong as an entire battalion, and loyal to no one but its own instincts. Only the Empress dared to keep one, and even she feared it. Inside the royal hall, Empress Sarilith stood 10 feet tall, her long silver hair flowing like liquid moonlight. Her 4 arms rested on a throne made of crystal bone, and her crown, shaped like a star breaking apart, glimmered above her head. She watched her advisors panic around her. "The engine core is collapsing. We need an emergency mechanic. The beast must be restrained. Its chamber is unstable." Sarilith's crimson eyes narrowed. "Explain." An engineer with shaking hands stepped forward. "The primary engine coil fractured during warp transition. We need someone who can fix human carbon alloy. Most of the Empire does not use human metal, so only a human can repair it." The Empress did not like relying on humans. They were new to the galactic stage, small, strange, and unpredictable. They had no telepathy, no psionic abilities, no natural weapons. And yet, something about them made them hard to ignore. They worked fast, learned fast, fought fast, and survived disasters that should have killed them. But she did not care for philosophy now. "Bring the human," she commanded. The human mechanic arrives. His name was Elias Varon, and he was possibly the most average human alive. He stood barely 6 feet tall, with messy brown hair, oil-stained gloves, and old boots that squeaked every time he walked. He looked more like someone fixing a kitchen sink than a galactic engine. 2 Imperial guards escorted him through the towering halls. He stared at the glowing walls and transparent floors showing space beneath his feet. It was all too fancy for him. When he reached the Empress's throne room, he froze. Everyone stared at him like he was a rat that had wandered into a royal banquet. Elias cleared his throat. Hello." The Empress studied him with cold interest. "Human. You will fix the engine. Fail, and the consequences will be unpleasant." Elias had worked with dangerous customers before, gangsters, shady traders, angry captains. But none of them had 4 arms, glowing eyes, and a reputation for vaporizing planets that annoyed her. He nodded quickly. "Yes, ma'am. Your Highness, your Empressness?" The hall fell silent. Sarilith tilted her head slowly. "Empress will suffice." "Got it," he squeaked. The storm before the meeting. As Elias followed the lead engineer toward the engine room, the ship's lights flickered. Metal groaned. The whole vessel trembled like something enormous was moving inside it. Elias frowned. Is that normal?" The engineer whispered. "Not at all. That is the Drakthyreks." Elias blinked. "The what now?" Before the engineer could answer, a roar thundered through the halls, deep, echoing, ancient. The kind of sound that made even the bravest warrior freeze. The walls vibrated. Dust fell from the ceiling. The engineer turned pale. "The Empress's battle beast. It is restless due to the engine malfunction. If its chamber destabilizes, the creature could escape." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Escape? As in, roam the ship?" "Yes," the engineer whispered, "and kill everything it sees." Elias scratched his chin. "Well, that's not great." When man meets monster 30 minutes later, Elias finished crawling through tight engine shafts, fixing metal cables, sealing cracks, and replacing coils. Human metal was tricky. Alien tools made it trickier. but he had done jobs worse than this. Things were going fine. Then the ship shook again. A second roar echoed, closer now. Elias looked up. Okay, that didn't sound comforting. The engineer beside him whispered, "It's coming this way." "What is?" The answer arrived with a smash. A giant metal door bent inward like soft clay. Something huge slammed against it again. Claws pierced through the cracks. Fire-like breath hissed from behind the metal. The engineer ran. "We must go! Now!" But Elias didn't move. He stared at the door as it finally tore open. The Drac Thyrex stepped through. It was enormous, twice the height of a human ship and long as a cargo hauler. Its scales shined like armor. Its wings folded close to its body. Its claws scraped sparks against the floor, and its golden eyes burned like suns. Everyone else fled in terror. Elias stayed frozen, mouth half open. The beast sniffed the air and slowly turned its head toward him. Its low growl shook the walls. Elias whispered, "Oh no, I'm dead." The beast approached, slow, heavy steps echoing throughout the hall. It lowered its head until its snout was inches from him. Warm breath washed over his face. Its massive pupils narrowed. One bite and he would vanish. The monster leaned closer. Elias shut his eyes, but then something unexpected happened. The Drac Thyrex sat down, just sat, like a giant scaly dog waiting for a treat. Elias opened one eye. "What? Why?" The beast lowered its head to the ground, nudging his hand gently with its snout. Elias touched its scales out of instinct. They were warm and smooth. The monster purred, an actual rumbling purr that shook the floor. "What in the galaxy?" he whispered. The Empress witnesses the impossible alarms blared. Guards arrived, weapons ready. The Empress herself stormed in, her presence sharp and cold like a blade. "Stand back from that creature, Humyn," she commanded. But the Drac Thyrex growled. Not at Elias, but at the guards. It moved its wings to shield him. Sarilith froze. Never in her rule had she seen such defiance. The beast only listened to instinct and destruction. Never gentleness, never obedience, never affection. But it bowed its head before Elias as if he were its chosen companion. The Empress stared, stunned. How is this possible?" Elias shrugged nervously. I don't know. I just raised my hand so it wouldn't eat me. Maybe it thought I was waving, or maybe it just likes me." The Empress had conquered planets, tamed armies, and commanded entire species, but this moment made her feel truly small. Her deadliest living weapon was acting like a household pet for a human mechanic. She stepped closer, her voice quiet, almost questioning. "What did you do, Humyn?" Elias scratched his head. "Honestly? Nothing special. I just treated it like something alive, not like a tool." The Empress studied him as if seeing a new kind of creature, one stranger and more dangerous than any in her empire. Humans never made sense, and now she feared they might change everything. The whole royal ship felt different after the strange event in the engine hall. Every corridor buzzed with whispers. Every guard walked nervously. Every official looked over their shoulder, searching for answers that did not exist. The Drac Thyrex, the most feared living weapon in the Celestian Empire, had behaved like a pet in front of a human. A simple, ordinary human. Word spread so fast that even workers in distant cargo bays repeated the story in disbelief. A human? That tiny creature? The beast bowed to him. I heard it with my own ears. No one bows to humans, not even the cleaning drones. Everything had changed in one moment, and no one understood why. The Empress demands answers. Inside the Imperial Strategy Chamber, Empress Sarilith sat at the head of a round table. The room glowed with cold white light. Holograms floated above the table. Images of the Dracthyrex, schematics, and recordings. Elias stood at the center, feeling very small. He wished he could be anywhere else, maybe fixing an old ship engine on Earth, drinking cheap coffee, and not being stared at by 20 alien nobles. The Empress pointed a long, sharp finger toward the hologram of the beast, bowing to him. "What did you do to earn this reaction?" Elias rubbed the back of his neck. "Ma'am, sorry, Empress, I didn't do anything. The beast crashed through a door, sniffed me, and then sat down. Creatures of that power do not simply sit down," she said coldly. An alien scientist with blue skin stepped forward. "Dracthyrex are immune to telepathy. They cannot be trained. They cannot be bribed. They cannot be controlled. They respond only to instinct." Another advisor spoke. "But this human is not a psionic. Humans have no mental influence. So how did the beast react?" All eyes turned to Elias again. He sighed. "I don't know. I just kept calm. Maybe that's all it wanted." The Empress narrowed her eyes. "Most creatures panic when faced with death. Yet you did not." "I wanted to," Elias admitted honestly. "I was scared. But I was more scared of running away and getting eaten." Some of the nobles chuckled nervously, but the Empress did not. She leaned in. "Humyn, you will stay under observation." Elias blinked. "Observation? Like being watched?" "Yes, and you will interact with the beast again." "Again?" "Yes," she said firmly. "We must understand what you are." The beast waits. Later, Elias was escorted to the containment chamber. The door leading inside was made of reinforced metal, the strongest kind he had ever seen. Imperial guards stood around it with heavy weapons ready. The head guard, an alien with stone-like skin, warned him, "The creature is calm, for now, but if it becomes unstable, run to us." Elias nodded nervously. "Right. Run, and probably die slower." The guard did not laugh. The containment chamber opened with a loud hiss. Inside, the Dracthyrex sat quietly, wings folded, tail curled around itself like a giant pet waiting for its owner. Its golden eyes brightened when it saw Elias. Elias stayed near the door at first. Hello again?" The creature lowered its head, inviting him closer. The guards whispered among themselves. "Impossible. It's responding like a trained animal?" "No, like it's greeting him." Elias walked forward slowly. The beast leaned toward him. He carefully placed a hand on its snout. The scales felt warm and smooth. The creature let out a deep rumble, almost like a purr. Elias whispered, "You're not so scary when you're calm, you know." The Dracthyrex blinked slowly, relaxed. For the Empire, this was a miracle. For Elias, it just felt strangely natural. Testing the human. For the next few days, the Empress ordered test after test. Test 1, voice commands. Scientists asked Elias to give simple instructions. Raise your head. Lower your wings. Move your tail. To their shock, the Dracthyrex responded. Slowly, calmly, without aggression. Elias kept saying, "I'm not controlling it, it just seems to understand me." But they didn't believe him. Test 2. Psionic resistance telepaths tried to give the beast commands. It ignored all of them. Elias stood behind them. Could you try not yelling inside its mind? You're making it annoyed." To everyone's surprise, the beast calmed down when Elias spoke. Test 3. Emotional influence. Psychologists measured the creature's stress levels. When anyone else approached, stress levels rose. When Elias approached, stress levels fell to near zero. One scientist exclaimed, "This is impossible. Humans have no telepathic signatures." Another scientist replied, "Then how does it understand him?" No one had an answer. A dangerous interest. The Empress watched the tests every day with increasing curiosity. She liked having power. She liked controlling everything around her. But this situation defied logic. She approached Elias after one test session. "You continue to surprise my empire." He shrugged. "I'm just doing what you ask." She circled him slowly, studying him as if he was a puzzle. "Humans, you are small, weak, yet your minds are quick and your spirits do not break easily. I have seen humans survive wounds that would kill my strongest warriors." Elias raised an eyebrow. Thank you?" The Empress sighed softly. "Do not misunderstand. It is not a compliment. It is curiosity." She stepped closer. "Why does my greatest weapon choose you?" Elias could only give the same answer. "I don't know." But the Empress did not believe in not knowing. She believed in answers, control, and truth. And now she wanted truth more than ever. Tension in the empire. Not everyone was pleased with this human anomaly. In the shadows of the ship, nobles whispered, "This human threatens our order. What if the beast attacks on his command? What if humans become powerful because of him? We must watch him carefully." Some nobles even suggested removing Elias quietly, but no one dared act yet. The Empress's eyes were always watching. Bonding moments. Meanwhile, Elias spent more time with the Drakhthyrex than anyone in the Empire. After the tests each day, he stayed behind. He talked to the beast while repairing equipment or checking tools. "You know," he said one afternoon while sitting near the creature's giant foot, "I'm not anyone special. I'm just a mechanic. I fix broken things. I don't lead armies or control monsters." The Drakhthyrex rumbled softly, as if disagreeing. Elias chuckled. "Yeah, I know. You think I'm more than that, but I'm not." The beast lowered its head onto the floor near him, allowing him to rest against its warm scales. He sighed. "You're a strange friend." The Empress witnesses a mystery. One evening, the Empress visited the chamber quietly. She stopped at the doorway. What she saw made her breath catch. Elias was sitting on the floor, leaning against the Drakthyrex's massive side. The beast slept peacefully. Wings folded around him as if protecting him. Elias wasn't afraid. He was relaxed, even comfortable. The Empress whispered to herself, "This creature, born from war and destruction, chooses peace with him." Her expression softened for the first time in years. She stepped closer and watched the sleeping pair, one human, one unstoppable monster. For a moment, she felt something unfamiliar. Hope. A question no one can answer. Later, when Elias left the chamber, the Empress stopped him in the hallway. Her voice was quiet. "Humyn." He turned. "Yes?" She studied him with searching eyes. "Tell me the truth. Are all humans like you?" He thought for a moment. "No," he said honestly. "But a lot of us try to be." The Empress didn't respond for a long time. She only whispered, "Perhaps your kind is more dangerous and more powerful than we believed." The Celestian Empire never slept. Its ships, soldiers, and nobles were always moving, always planning, always fighting. Power was everything here, and any small change in power caused great waves of fear. So when the Drakhthyrex chose a human mechanic over the royal family, many important people became restless, and restless nobles were dangerous. Shadows in the palace walls. In a private chamber far from the Empress's eyes, a group of high-ranking nobles stood around a dim table. Their long robes brushed the floor, their faces hidden under hoods. One noble slammed a fist on the table. "We cannot allow a human to hold influence over the Empress's weapon." Another nodded. "The Empress thinks the human is harmless. But what if he becomes bold? What if humans learn they can control our most powerful beasts?" A third noble hissed. "It is already happening. The beast listens to him. It protects him. Today it refuses mind control. Tomorrow it may refuse imperial command." Some of them shivered. Even saying such things was dangerous, but fear made them bold. "We must act," the lead noble whispered. "We remove the human quietly, and then we control the Drakhthyrex ourselves." "Control it?" Another noble scoffed. "It is impossible." "Not with the device we created," the lead noble replied, tapping a small black cube on the table. "A neural shock pulse. It will weaken the beast, long enough for us to install restraints." "And then?" "Then we stage a coup." Silence filled the room. No one wanted to fight the Empress, but they feared losing their power more. "Very well," one said. "Let the plan begin." Elias feels the change. Back in the beast chamber, Elias talked softly to the Drakhthyrex while repairing a loose pipe. "You know," he said, tightening a bolt, "everyone's been acting strange lately. More guards, more whispers, more staring. I think something's wrong." The beast lifted its head, nostrils flaring. It sensed danger in a way only predators could. Its wings shifted, restless, protective. Elias gently stroked its snout. "I know, buddy. I feel it too." He didn't know what was coming, but the air felt heavy, like a storm was building. The Empress worries in silence. Empress Serelith stood alone at a large window overlooking the stars. For once, her cold expression softened with worry. The Empire was changing, and she felt tremors beneath the surface like cracks in a frozen lake. Her advisor approached quietly. "Your Majesty, some nobles request a private audience." She waved her hand dismissively. "Later. I have more important matters." Her mind returned to Elias, a human who could calm the Drakhthyrex, a human who showed empathy in a place built on power. He confused her. He impressed her. He worried her. If one human could do this, what else could humanity do? The conspiracy moves. Late that night, when most of the ship was quiet, the conspirators acted. A group of masked nobles and armored soldiers crept toward the beast chamber, carrying weapons and equipment. The leader held the neural shock device. "Remember," he whispered, "activate the device, weaken the beast, capture it, then blame the human." The soldiers nodded. They approached the chamber door and hacked the controls. Sparks flew. The door began to open. Inside, the Drakhthyrex suddenly lifted its head, growling. It sensed the threat instantly. Elias looked up from where he sat, repairing a melted panel. "What's happening?" Before he could stand, masked soldiers stormed inside. "Step away from the beast," one commanded. Elias raised his hands. Hey, I didn't do anything." But they didn't want answers. They wanted to silence him. The leader pressed the black cube. It glowed ominously. A violent shock pulse surged through the chamber. The Drakhthyrex let out a roar of pain. Elias shouted, "Stop! You're hurting it!" The beast fell to one knee, trembling. The soldiers rushed forward with restraints. Chains glowed red-hot, ready to lock around the creature's wings and legs. The beast makes its choice. As the conspirators approached, Elias ran to the Drakhthyrex, placing both hands on its warm scales. "It's okay," he whispered desperately. "I'm here. I won't leave you." The beast, even in pain, responded to his voice. Its struggling slowed, its breathing steadied. The conspirators saw this and panicked. "Separate the human from the beast." "Kill him if needed." Elias stepped in front of the weakened creature. "You're not touching him." But he was only human. They had weapons. A soldier raised a stun rifle. The Drakhthyrex saw the threat. Despite the shockwave hurting it, despite the heavy restraints on its body, the beast used every ounce of adrenaline it had. With a furious roar, it lunged forward. Chains snapped, metal shattered. In one sweeping motion, the creature shielded Elias beneath its wings. The stun blast hit the beast instead of him. Elias shouted in fear, "No, don't hurt him!" But the Drakhthyrex pushed through the pain. It grabbed Elias gently with its front claws, protectively, not violently, and leapt toward the back door of the chamber. With a final burst of strength, it smashed the exit open and escaped into the lower tunnels of the ship. The conspirators scrambled in panic. The beast escaped! This was not the plan! Find them! Now! Running through the ship, Elias clung to the beast as it charged through dark maintenance corridors. Sparks flew as its claws tore across the metal floor. Its breathing was heavy, but its golden eyes burned with determination. "Are you okay?" Elias asked, voice trembling. "You're hurt badly." The Drakhthyrex rumbled weakly, but kept moving. Lights flickered overhead. Alarms began to blare across the ship. "Unauthorized breach! Contain the creature! Seal all lower areas!" Elias felt guilt twist in his chest. "This is my fault. They were after me. You got hurt because of me." The beast shook its head slightly, as if denying his words. Even in pain, even while running for its life, it chose to protect him. Elias whispered, "I won't let them take you." The Empress learns the truth. Back in the royal control room, the Empress received the emergency alert. Her eyes narrowed. "What happened?" A trembling guard reported. "Your Majesty, the Drakhthyrex broke free, and the Humyn is with it." Her heart skipped. "With it, or controlling it?" "We don't know." She slammed her fist. "Find them!" But inside she felt fear, not for her ship, but for Elias. Her weapon had been injured, her mechanic was missing, and someone must have caused it. She turned to her advisor. "Search the nobles' chambers. Someone plots against me." For the first time in years, the Empress felt anger mixed with despair. A mechanic's determination. Elias led the Drakhthyrex into his small workshop room deep in the lower decks, a place only engineers ever visited. "Here," he said, guiding the beast gently. "Lie down. Let me help you." The creature lowered itself slowly. Elias grabbed tools, bandages, and coolants. His hands shook, but he worked with care. He cleaned damaged scales, repaired torn muscle tissue, neutralized the shock energy. Every time the beast winced, Elias whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." The Drakhthyrex watched him, eyes soft with trust. Elias blinked back tears. "You could have run away. You could have saved yourself, but you didn't. You saved me." The beast closed its eyes, leaning into his touch. Elias sat beside it, exhausted. "I promise, I won't let them hurt you again." The Empress sees the truth. Moments later, footsteps echoed down the hall. The Empress entered. Her guards tried to follow her, but she raised a hand, ordering them to stay back. She stepped inside alone. There she saw the sight that changed everything. Elias kneeling beside the giant creature, the Drakhthyrex lying calmly with its head in his lap, and the Humyn crying quietly while patching its wounds. The Empress whispered, "It came to you? For help." Elias looked up, eyes red. "They tried to kill him. I couldn't let them." She stared at him for a long time. Then she said softly, "No creature comes to a human for help unless it sees something worth trusting." Her gaze sharpened. "And perhaps that scares my enemies more than it scares me." The Celestian Empire was huge, powerful, and full of danger. But the biggest danger did not always come from armies or monsters. Sometimes the danger came from the people who wanted power for themselves. And tonight, the danger moved quietly through the royal ship. Ever since the Drakhthyrex began following the human mechanic Elias, many nobles whispered in fear. They did not like change. They did not like mysteries. And most of all, they did not like something powerful being outside their control. In a hidden meeting chamber far from the Empress, a group of nobles gathered around a long, glowing table. Their hoods covered their faces, and their voices were low. The leader spoke first. "We must stop this Humyn." Another noble hissed, "Yes, The Empress is foolish. She thinks the Humyn is harmless, but we have seen the truth. The beast listens to him. It protects him. But the Dracthyrex obeys no one, another snapped. If the Humyn can influence it, then humans may have power we never expected. The leader placed a small black cube on the table. It pulsed with dark blue light. This device will send a neural shock into the beast. It will weaken it. When it falls, we place restraints on it. Then we claim the Humyn was controlling it illegally. And the Empress? A noble whispered. She will have no choice but to believe us. Humans are low species. We are nobles. Our words will crush him. The room fell silent. The plan had been decided. Tonight, they would strike. Elias notices. Something wrong. Inside the maintenance chamber, Elias worked with his usual focus. He repaired damaged circuits and tightened bolts while the Dracthyrex lay nearby, watching him with calm golden eyes. "You're acting strange today," Elias murmured, wiping sweat from his forehead. "You keep staring at the door like something bad is coming." The beast growled softly, not in anger but in warning. Its wings shifted, restless. Elias sighed. "Yeah, I know. The whole ship feels weird. Too many whispers, too many people staring." He didn't know the danger was already walking toward them. The attack begins. The conspirators moved through the halls like shadows. Their soldiers carried stun rifles and glowing chains made to restrain war beasts. The leader held the neural shock cube tightly. They reached the beast chamber door. "Quickly," he ordered. "Break in before the Empress notices." They hacked the door panel. Sparks flew. The metal door hissed open. The Dracthyrex lifted its head immediately. Its golden eyes narrowed. Elias froze mid-step. "What the?" Masked soldiers rushed in. "Step away from the beast, Humyn!" "Do not resist. Hands up!" Elias raised his hands slowly. "Hey now, wait! I didn't do anything!" The conspirators ignored him. The leader held up the cube. "Activate!" A flash of cold blue light burst from the device, sending a shock wave through the chamber. The Dracthyrex roared in pain. Elias shouted, "Stop! You're hurting him!" The beast collapsed to one knee, trembling violently. Its wings shook. Its breathing turned uneven. The soldiers rushed forward with restraints. Their glowing chains rattled in the air. "Hold it down! Hurry!" Elias ran forward, putting himself between the beast and the soldiers. "Don't touch him!" A soldier raised his stun rifle. "Move, Humyn!" The Dracthyrex saw the weapon aiming at Elias. Even weakened, it reacted with instinct. With a fierce roar, the creature pulled itself up and lunged. Chains snapped. Soldiers flew backward as the beast charged forward, shielding Elias with its wings. The stun blast fired, hitting the beast, not Elias. Elias cried out, "No!" But the Dracthyrex didn't stop. It gently grabbed Elias with its claws and sprinted toward the back maintenance exit. With one mighty strike of its tail, it smashed the door open. Together, they disappeared into the dark lower tunnels of the ship, chaos behind them. Inside the chamber, the conspirators stared in horror. "The beast escaped! We can't control it! This wasn't supposed to happen!" One noble hissed. "Find them before the Empress learns!" But it was too late. Running through the ship. Elias clung to the beast as it ran. Sparks flew beneath their feet. Alarms blared across the ship. "Unauthorized creature escape! Close all bulkheads! Repeat! Containment breach!" Elias held on to the beast's scale. "You're hurt, but you still saved me. Why?" The Dracthyrex rumbled softly, leaning into him. Elias felt something heavy in his chest. The beast wasn't acting like a weapon. It wasn't acting like a pet either. It was acting like a friend. Refuge in the workshop. The beast slowed as they reached Elias's private workshop deep underground. Elias guided it inside. "Lie down. I'll fix you up." The Dracthyrex obeyed, lowered its huge body, and breathed heavily on the metal floor. Elias grabbed tools, coolants, and bandages. He worked with shaking hands. "You shouldn't have risked yourself," he whispered, voice cracking. "You got hurt because you chose me." The beast nudged his shoulder, comforting him even while injured. Elias swallowed hard. "I won't let them get you. I promise." The Empress arrives. Heavy footsteps echoed outside. Elias looked up nervously. The door opened. The Empress entered alone. She stopped when she saw Elias kneeling beside the beast, his hands covered in coolant fluid and tears on his cheeks. The Dracthyrex was curled around him, protecting him even while wounded. The Empress whispered, "It came to you for safety." Elias looked up. They attacked it. They tried to control it. They tried to blame me. The Empress's eyes hardened. "I know." She stepped inside, voice soft. "Humyn. This creature obeys no one. It trusts no ruler. Yet with you it shows peace." She studied him quietly. "You may not realize it, but today, you changed the Empire." The Celestian Empire was in chaos. Every alarm on the ship had been activated. Soldiers rushed through corridors. Nobles shouted orders and panicked whispers filled every room. But in the quiet workshop, deep below the royal decks, Elias and the Dracthyrex rested. The Empress stood with them, watching. The beast's breathing was heavy. Elias wiped its scales gently with cooling gel. "You're okay," he whispered. "I'm here." The Empress had never seen anyone speak to a war beast like this, not with fear, not with force, but with care. "Humyn," she said finally, "you understand it in a way no one else does." Elias shrugged. "I just treat it like it's alive." The Empress felt something old and forgotten in her chest. Respect. The truth revealed. Suddenly, her advisor arrived. "Your Majesty, we found a recording." The Empress took the holopad and watched. The recording showed the conspirators hacking the door, firing the shock device, and attacking Elias. Her eyes burned with fury. "They dared plot against me, on my own ship." Elias looked up quietly. "They won't stop. They'll try again." The Empress nodded slowly. "Yes, and now they must be dealt with." Then she looked at Elias. "Humyn, I need your help." Elias blinked. "My help? What can I do?" "You have something the nobles fear," she said. "Something I do not." "What's that?" She pointed to the Dracthyrex. "Trust. A plan. Only a human would try." Elias stood and thought for a moment. Then an idea began forming in his mind. "You said they want control of the Empire, right?" "Yes," the Empress said. "And they fear what I can do?" "Yes." "Then we use their fear against them," Elias said simply. The Empress raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Elias paced around the workshop. "We make them believe something bigger than truth. We make them believe humans aren't powerless, that humans can bond with beasts naturally." The Empress stared at him. "But humans cannot." Elias grinned weakly. "They don't know that." The Empress slowly understood. "You want to scare them." "Exactly. Bullies run when they think they're outmatched." It was a human idea, simple, risky, clever. The Empress gave him a small smile. "You are more dangerous than you look." He shrugged. "Humans adapt. It's what we do." Preparing the beast. The Dracthyrex slowly stood. Its wounds were better thanks to Elias's repairs. But it was still weakened. Elias placed a hand on its snout. "We need your help, buddy. Can you walk?" The beast responded with a soft growl and lifted its wings. The Empress watched the bond with awe. "It would follow you into a star if you asked." Elias blushed slightly. Let's hope we don't need to go that far." March toward the throne room." The Empress led the way through forbidden tunnels and secret passages. Elias and the Drak-Thyrex followed behind her. Soldiers they passed froze in confusion. "That's the beast, and it's walking calmly. Why is the human with it?" Whispers spread faster than fire in dry grass. By the time they reached the throne room doors, half the ship had heard the rumors. "The Drak-Thyrex has chosen a new master. Humans can bond with war beasts." The conspirators inside panicked the moment they saw the doors open. The confrontation. The Empress stepped in first, tall and fierce. Elias entered next. The Drak-Thyrex walked behind him like a giant shadow of living steel. The nobles stumbled backward. "Impossible." "No, he survived. The beast obeys him." The Empress raised her voice. "You plotted against me. You attacked my property. You endangered my ship." The conspirators trembled. Elias stepped forward. "And you hurt my friend." The Drak-Thyrex growled loudly, shaking the entire hall. The conspirators fell to their knees, terrified. One shouted, "Humans! Humans can control war beasts!" Another screamed, "We cannot fight this!" Another cried, "Forgive us!" The Empress looked at Elias, impressed. His plan worked perfectly. Ordering the future, the Empress lifted her hand. "You will all face judgment, but know this." She gestured toward Elias and the Drak-Thyrex. "This human saved my empire from your treachery. He is under my protection." The entire room fell silent. Elias stood there awkwardly, rubbing the back of his neck. The Drak-Thyrex curled its tail proudly around him. The Empress turned to Elias. "You have shown strength not through power, but through loyalty, through kindness, through courage." She paused. "And that is a strength my empire needs." Elias blinked. Thank you?" The Empress smiled faintly. "Do not thank me. Thank yourself." A human's rise. As the conspirators were taken away and the alarm stopped, Elias sat beside the Drak-Thyrex relieved. "You did good," he whispered. "We did good." The beast nudged him gently. The Empress approached quietly. "Human," she said, "this is only the beginning." Elias looked up. "Beginning of what?" She placed a hand on the beast's warm scales. "Of a new legend." The Celestian flagship Aurelius Crown was calmer now. The alarms had stopped. The conspirators had been captured and locked away. The nobles walked with quieter steps, and soldiers saluted carefully whenever Elias or the Drak-Thyrex passed by. But even with peace returning, the ship felt different. Everyone knew something had changed forever. The human mechanic and the war beast were now symbols of something new, something powerful, something unexpected, something the Empire had never seen before. Recovering, after the battle days passed as the Drak-Thyrex healed in the main medical bay. Its scales had been patched, its wings repaired, and its heart monitored carefully by machines bigger than Elias's entire workshop. Elias sat beside the beast every day, sometimes talking, sometimes just sitting quietly. The Drak-Thyrex rested its head close to him, eyes half closed, relaxed and calm. "You scared me, you know," Elias said softly. "You jumped into danger, just for me." The beast let out a low rumble, almost like laughter. Elias smiled weakly. "Yeah, I know. You'd do it again. That's the problem." It nudged his shoulder gently. Across the room, several doctors watched. "That creature should be aggressive. It should hate being touched. But it behaves like a companion animal." "No, more like a partner." Elias heard their whispers, but he didn't care. He only cared that his friend was alive. The Empress's visit. One afternoon, the doors opened with a soft hum. The Empress walked in. Her silver hair flowed behind her, and her crown shimmered like a burning star. The doctors bowed quickly and left the room, leaving Elias and the beast alone with her. She looked at Elias first. You have been here every day. Elias nodded. He saved me. It's my turn to take care of him. She approached slowly. The Drakhthyrex lifted its head, watching her carefully but remained calm. The Empress placed a gentle hand on the creature's scales. And this beast, who bows to no ruler, bows to you. Elias looked confused. I didn't ask for that. That, the Empress said softly, is why it chose you. Elias blinked. What do you mean? She walked to his side and folded one of her 4 arms. Powerful beings fear those who desire control, but you do not seek control. You seek connection. Elias stayed quiet. The Empress continued. When the nobles attacked you, the beast protected you. When you saw it injured, you protected it. 2 different lives, choosing each other. Her crimson eyes softened. That bond is rare, even among my own species. Elias felt embarrassed under her gaze. I didn't do anything special. The Empress shook her head. You did something very special, Humyn. You showed kindness where others showed force. The galaxy forgets the power of kindness. A dangerous question. She stepped back a little and stared out the window. Do you know what happens now? She asked quietly. Elias frowned. More tests? More questions? The Empress shook her head. No, something much bigger. She turned toward him again. Because of you, some nobles fear that humans are stronger than we believed. Some fear what humans may become. And many refuse to admit that a human changed the empire with nothing but words and compassion. Elias swallowed. So they hate me? Some do, she said. Some admire you. Some are afraid. And some see hope. Elias laughed awkwardly. I'm just a mechanic. I fix broken metal, not empires. She smiled faintly. Perhaps you fix both. He froze at her words. A choice to make the Empress walked closer, her expression serious. Elias Varen, I offer you a choice. Elias blinked slowly. A choice? Yes, she said. 2 paths lie ahead. She lifted one hand. First path. You may return to your home planet. I will grant you full safety, supplies, and an escort fleet. You will live peacefully with your people. No one will trouble you again. Elias opened his mouth, but she lifted her other hand. Second path. You remain here. You stay in the Celestian Empire. The Drakhthyrex will be under your care. You will become a protector, not of me, not of the nobles, but of the future. Elias stared at her in shock. What do you mean, protector? The Empress stepped closer. The galaxy is changing. You and this beast represent a new idea, one that scares many, but inspires others. If you stay, you will stand beside me, not as a servant. Not as a soldier, she paused, but as someone who understands what true strength is, someone who can help guide the Empire into something better. Elias stared at the floor. He felt small, so small. He was just a human, a mechanic who never wanted attention, and now he was being offered a place beside an Empress. He looked at the Drakhthyrex. The beast looked back, steady, loyal, unshaken. Stay, Elias whispered, or go home. The decision felt impossible. The beast answers. First, before Elias could speak, the Drakhthyrex slowly stood. It stretched its wings and walked to him, lowering its head into his hands. Its warm breath brushed against his face. The message was clear. I choose you, the beast seemed to say, no matter where you go. Elias felt his chest tighten. He wrapped his arms around the creature's snout. You big idiot, he whispered. You're making this harder. The beast rumbled affectionately. The Empress watched in silence. Elias's decision. Elias took a deep breath and turned toward the Empress. If I return home, he said quietly, the beast will come with me. That means running, hiding, fearing every day. He swallowed. But if I stay, I can protect him, and maybe help people here. Maybe make things better. The Empress nodded. So you choose the Empire? Elias hesitated. Then he placed a hand on the beast's neck. I choose him, he said simply. And wherever he belongs, that's where I'll be. The Empress smiled, a true smile, rare and warm. Then welcome, Elias Varan, protector of the Draktharex, and ally of the Celestian Empire. A new beginning news spread fast. The Humyn had chosen the Empire. The beast had chosen the Humyn, and the Empress had chosen both. Suddenly, humans were seen differently, not small, not weak, but something new, something unpredictable, something powerful in a quiet, gentle way. A legend began forming, the Humyn who tamed the Empire's dragon. But Elias never liked that title. He always corrected it. I didn't tame him, he said. We became friends. And that was true. A final scene. Months later, Elias stood on the outer balcony of the Imperial Palace on the Empire's capital world. Stars shone brightly above. Ships moved like silver streaks in the endless sky. The Draktharex stood beside him, calm and proud. The Empress joined them. Do you miss Earth? She asked. Sometimes, Elias admitted, but I belong here now. The Empress looked at him with respect. You changed us, Humyn. Not with power, not with force, but with compassion. Elias laughed softly. Funny how the quiet things make the loudest impact. The Draktharex nuzzled his shoulder. Elias smiled and scratched its snout. The Empress looked over her empire, the worlds, the stars, the future. Then she said, perhaps the galaxy has underestimated humans. Elias shrugged. Maybe, but I think the galaxy needed a reminder. And what reminder is that? She asked. Elias placed a hand on the beast's warm scales. That strength isn't always about power, he said softly. Sometimes strength is choosing kindness, even when you don't have to. The Empress nodded, eyes shining, and deep within the vast empire, a new story was born, the story of a Humyn, a dragon-like predator, and the future they would build together.